Today we're going to turn this into a platter.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Welcome to another episode of Wolfridge Woodworking. Today we're going to be working with this piece of Spalted Hackberry. It is around 7 inches wide and about a little over an inch thick, about an inch, almost an inch and a half. So it's going to be truly a platter. I've got a coffee carafe that I've got on my eyes on making this as just basically a coaster, I guess you could say. So that's what we're going to build today, and we're going to do some different techniques today with this. So stay tuned and let's get started. We are going to use our center, our bullseye finder here. Line it up to the 7-inch mark, and we're going to punch a hole for the center. It looks like it's pretty good. Because what we're going to be doing today is attaching this to a glue block using hot glue, and it's only going to be on there long enough to do the mortise in the back so that we can attach it to the chuck. So let's go attach it to that glue block. We've got our center marked here, and we are going, and I've got a center here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that there on that live center, push it up against the glue block, apply some pressure, and again, this is only going to be long enough for us to true this up round, and then I will take it out and then cut our mortise in here, and then we'll mount that mortise to our chuck. So this is only going to be temporary, and this is my first time ever gluing, but I've seen it done on YouTube, and we all know there's everything on YouTube's correct, especially my channel. All right, so we're just going to apply a bead of hot glue. I think I should have gotten an extra stick. This is going on pretty liberally, which is what I want. And then we'll just use a chisel when it's done to take it off. And keep applying it. Again, we're going with a liberal amount. That should do that. We're just going to now give it time to cool down, and then we'll get started. Okay, so that was good enough for the glue to dry. So now we are going to turn this flat, or round I should say, and then we'll move the tailstock out of the way and put our mortise in. So let's get started. I'm going to use our face shield to protect our eyes, and we are going to turn this probably, we'll try 700, but we may go up to 1,000 depending on, it's pretty round, but we'll see. We'll see what it gets started, and we'll be using our square carbide cutter to get this trued up. Okay, so we've got it kind of round. So now what we're going to do is we are going to remove the tailstock. All right, so now we're going to move our move this in, get it just below center, and let's finish facing this off. We're going to take shallow cuts just to make sure that we don't get a catch and have this thing flying. this is I don't know what to do. It is it's just tearing out. I've tried several different tools, and it just I don't know. I don't know what to do. Might try changing this. I don't know, changing the profile so maybe the end grain here is not as big and not as relevant, or not relevant, but visible. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Otherwise, it's the rip out is so bad. It's not worth making it. But I'm not going to give up yet. I'm going to keep going, see what we can salvage out of this. So anyway, let's get going. All right, so it's not perfect, but you know, I think I can live with that. It's actually not bad. And I found what the key was turning this on an angle and just taking light cuts. And you know, parts of it are really, really smooth, and then the others are okay, but I think that's the key. So you know, and you know what? Now that I think about it, I do remember seeing other turners do that trick, where they turn either, you know, a carbide cutter, or say for instance, well, maybe not that, but you know, take your tool and turn them on an angle, so it's rather than cutting, it's a shear scraping. And you know, if I had, you know, my bowl gouge, which I'm going to eventually get into using my bowl gouge. I'm trying to grind it with an Irish grind, but anyway. So just the kind of the turning it on that angle and doing a shear scraping, man, what a difference it made. I think it just salvaged this bowl or platter. I don't know, it's looking more like a bowl, but you know, maybe I'll just turn it shallow on the other side. But anyway, enough rambling on. So now what I'm going to do is, I think I've got it to a shape that's okay. So now I'm just going to sand it through the grits. I'm going to start at probably 60, go to 80, 150, 240, and 320, and then do my typical sanding sealer and Yorkshire grit. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now we're going to try and take this off the glue block. I'm going to cut a little bit of it away with the parting tool and see if we can do this without the thing flying at me. Otherwise, I'll take it off and use a chisel. But I'm going to try to get some of it, not all the way off, but just some of it with the parting tool. Okay, I think that's good enough. Gets most of it off. Okay, let's get this off. Okay, let me get a chisel on this. So you can see that was a good solid connection. That thing was not going to come off of there, if anybody was worried about me. Man, that is on there good. That is good. Sure. There it comes. Alright, so we got it off. So get it mounted back up to the chuck. Got to be careful here, it's because that foot is not very deep, so I don't want to tear it out. So when we're turning it, I'm gonna have to be very careful with it. So there we go. So now that we got it turned around in the chuck, we are going to flatten it off and put it just a little concave. I'm not going to go deep with it. Like I said, it's supposed to be more like a platter, so I'm not going to go very deep, but I'll recess it just a little bit. All right, I like that shape. It's a little thick, but that's okay. Again, it's just gonna have my little coffee carafe that I'm gonna put on it. So I'm gonna go through the grits now. You know, one thing that I noticed when I did the other side, being that this wood is, parts of it are so soft and some of it's so hard, it developed bumps in the wood because where some parts were soft, the grit went right through it, where other parts it was hard. Very interesting. This spalted is really a big challenge, probably one of the most challenging things I've done. But so I left it a little bit coarse, I guess you would say, or pitty. And I'm going to see what I can do with the sandpaper because it really smoothed it out before. So I'm going to try that. So I'm going to go up through the grits, apply the sanding sealer and then the Yorkshire grit, and then we'll apply a finish at the end. All right, there she is. Definitely not perfect. I don't think I would sell this to anybody, or to be honest, even give it to anybody, but it's going to be used by me. So let me get it off the lathe, off the chuck, I should say. So it turned out really nice. So let's bring it over to the assembly table. Well, that was interesting. I'll just say that. I don't know if it's just because it was hackberry, but in the spalting, the punky spots, it was really soft. The sandpaper went right through it. It's left pockets in it, smooth pockets, where it took away the soft punky wood and left behind the harder wood. So very interesting, but you know, it's still a beautiful, I would say, you know, a beautiful piece to look at. You know, just don't come up and feel it too closely, or you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, it's a beautiful piece of wood. So I'm going to use my trusty good old walnut oil, Mahoney's walnut oil, to put a finish on it. So we're going to squirt some oil on there. It comes out a lot slower now that it's a little cooler in the garage. So we're just going to let that absorb in. You know, do both sides. Well, it's slippery for sure. So anyway, so we're going to just finish applying this oil. We're going to let it soak in. We're going to put a couple of coats on it. And then we'll come back and we'll finish it off with the Mahoney's. I don't know, it's the next thing in there. It's more like a wax, oil and wax in there, and you buff it in. Anyway, it's a beautiful bowl, like I said. Hopefully you can see that on camera. It's really slippery right now, but it's a beautiful bowl, or platter, I should say. And we're going to get some stills at the end, so you can see the beautiful spalting in the wood. And again, I'll take a picture of it with my carafe on it also, so you can kind of get an idea what I was talking about. Anyway, that's another completed project. I really appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully you got something out of it. I know I learned a ton on it. I've got a lot of this spalted wood. Probably wouldn't recommend that as a beginning project. You'll just get more frustrated than anything. But definitely try it. It's a good challenge to have. But it may be a little bit before I do another spalted piece of wood. I've got some other pieces around to do with. It is quite challenging. But anyway, I appreciate you stopping by. I think I said that already. Join me next time when we complete another project. If this is something that you're interested in, hit that subscribe button. I do projects like this once a week, moving probably the release to Wednesdays now rather than Sundays. Please like it, share it if it's something that somebody else you might know that might like this. But again, until next time, have a blessed day, and we look forward to seeing you again.